Mache, Mama.
Urgent call for the soul-to-soul rebonding of he and she biologically.
I don't know where they got these from. Pulled it from one of our trees. Goodness gracious. Well, you see this great big old thing?
Sacred Garden Culture Network with High Priest Kwatamani, sacred ancestral soothsayer, soul seer, spiritual healer and revealer, founding father and spiritual chief elder of the Kwatamani First Genesis tribe, the oldest, longest sustained, 100% raw and living, plant-consuming family community order known. Over half a century and still going strong. Nitty Gritty 9.
We're in a very serious crisis, an earth-shifting crisis. Or should I say, we're in an earth-shifting change. And within change, if you want to see the change, you have to be the change. Therefore, we must be the essence of what the earth-shifting change is calling for. Mama Earth is calling for green earth solar consciousness in thought and reasoning and in action. The primary duty, obligation, and responsibility of humanity, the few of the few of the few of the few, the sacred few, is to be the whole life change, to be of green earth solar conscious thought and reasoning and action. Be the epitome, the essence, the core, the heart of divine social, economic, family, community order. An order that actually synchronizes with Mother Earth and all living things thereof. That synchronizes with maintaining the mental, physical, and spiritual health and well-being of Mother. This is so significant. There's a situation that we've just finished going through in this new cycle, where there was a tremendously massive amount of ice meltdown, and there were offsprings who were trapped in that ice cold deep freeze mentality, and they were allowed to spread the plague of toxic disorder throughout the planet because the few of the few of the few of the few had a heart and mercifulness to reach out and assist those who they encountered. You see, the fact is we did emerge out of one mitochondrial mother. And Mother is the key in this process. Mother Earth. Mother, she. We brought forward a holistic living way of life as we emerged out of our sacred ancestral spirit conscious presence of Mother, Mother Earth, and the feminine, the mitochondrial mother. What we must comprehend is, in order for us to see the change, we must be the change of maintaining, securing the mental, physical, spiritual health and well-being of the mother, the women, and the children. Because Mother is the birthplace, and each and every one of us emerged as a child. The responsibility that we have as a few of the few of the few of the few is to gather. The circumstances are actually beyond the mind of an individualistic self. The only change possibility of these circumstances can manifest only through collective, communal, conscious thought, reasoning, actions. Therefore, if we are sincere about our own survival as man, he, and she, the only logical thing for a few of the few of the few of the few of the few to do is to break all these toxic attitudes, values, behaviors, and beliefs that have locked them inside of self-destruction and come to the holistic living reality that if we are not able to manifest within divine social, economic, family, community order, the only other alternative is self-destruction. This is played with so many cynical minds, so many oppositional minds, naysayers, so many players, that it is not even able to be comprehended how much common sense is really being said right now. Please try to reason inside the core, the essence, the soul of who you be. And recognize that you've been taught a lot of errors, a lot of fault, a lot of conflict, confusion, and chaos to keep you locked into a state and condition that our sacred ancestors called the mindset of Isfit, where you, the soulful essence of who you be, is locked into a vibration of being devoured, consumed. Please comprehend that the devouring and consuming of a soul can indeed manifest while you're walking around on this planet. And that will produce soulless beings. Please comprehend that there are so many beings whose soul was so froze in ice that no meltdown was able to bring back the whole soul energy that brings forward a love supreme, the mercy, the comprehension, the expressions of care and maintenance for each other. Rather, it produces a warlord culture, a warring culture that perpetuates blood spill as an honor. And that blood spilling warring cultural vibration will do what it do regardless of the women and the children. As a matter of fact, the major target will be destroy the males, disabilitate them, demoralize them into oblivious nothingness, reduce them to their least common denominator, then bend them over and make them bow to your merciless vibration until they become an assimilated, integrated, and adaptation of that. And then focus on the women and the children. The idea is to rape her mental consciousness. Once you have raped her mental consciousness, she will then produce the raped mental consciousness into the next generation. This is the glory of the war culture. This is the glory of the warlord syndrome. It is the exact vibration of an Isfit nature in physical terms and conditions, producing soulless beings unable to cope with glorifying the essence of life and supreme love, having one single focus, self-deified individualism, the glorification of his or herself beyond all things else, the manifestation of an ideology that actually glorifies a war god, a warring culture, a warlord syndrome, and perpetuates a hunting, herding, warring nature as the end all of all. Now the reality is that whole mindset is headed for a dead end. And a sacred few must come to recognition that you're in a dead end downward spiral if you do not refocus your whole life energy on the resurrection of divine social, economic, family, community order, quick, fast, and in a hurry. What this actually means is this. We have picked up so many false, fake, and pretentious attitudes, values, behaviors, and beliefs about our physical presence. What she looked like, what he looked like, what he got, and all these other different kinds of values that prevent the holistic living movement of supreme truth. the holistic living movement of a soul-to-soul relationship to resurrect higher peace, conscious thought, and reasoning in action as a vessel of humanity's survival. And with this, the various master programs that have been perpetuated by master warlords would have no other focus except to glorify the mission of self-destruction. So when we begin to talk about things like fossil fuel and the global emissions and the various diseases and sickness and disorder that is being perpetuated to eliminate mass populations, the warlord culture could give a care less. It feeds the blood spill. The blood sacrifice is the thrill of the kill. Therefore, wrong direction, and it is an infection that we must be able to find ways and means to detect where it's going and change our direction. The sacred few of the few of the few must go beyond the various restraints and constraints that have been planted into one's mind, must begin to challenge the mental thinking and reasoning. All the various false, fake, and potentials programs will do you absolutely no good. The levels and degree of higher education that's been perpetuated as the glory that makes you who you be is irrelevant if you're not able to go forward and multiply divine social, economic, family, community order into every offspring and vibration of the generation next. And if you're not able to do that, then all that you have amounts to zero, self-destruction. We must come to some recognitions. If we are about the survival of humanity, if the sacred few of the few of the few of the few really sincerely care, there's no other alternative that we have except to glorify in divine social, economic, family, community order. What I mean by that is that we must find ways and means to prepare the soil, to prepare the seeds, to plant it, to harvest, and to grow a new breed of consciousness, a new breed of food supply, a new breed of organic matter, a new breed of organic energy. And we must comprehend that we must consume from the tree of life. Anything short of that will produce a death, consuming cultural continuation. It's already planted. It's already started. It is already at a full-fledged downward spiral. And we don't have time to dwell in downward spirals. We must find some glory. We have the ability to go forward and multiply divine social, economic, family, community order. Most think that the ability that they have is to see how cute she is, or she feel like, hey, so many want me, I'm going to have body counts and this, that. Or the male to find out, hey, goodness gracious, I want to see how many notches I can put on my belt. All the other insane stupidity that actually produces a set of conflict, confusion, and chaos that pits one against the other in a scenario where we need each other so desperately. We need the divine union of masculine and feminine energy. That is from where we emerge. We did not emerge from a monotheistic nature. Impossible. Diametrically, biologically, impossible. We emerge from the divine union of masculine and feminine energy, bonded into a oneness. The ideology of the Big Bang is clear and simple. The ejaculation of that energy that comes together when he and she bond in a union to produce life. It's just that simple. Yet we want to play or have been groomed and conditioned to play all these various games, beauty standard games, insanity. And someone said, wow, she's so beautiful. What in the world does that mean if she is infested with sickness, disease, disorder, AIDS, or any of the other master programs of self-destruction? It's only in one's mind. And therefore, we have to cease and desist to live in a state of mental consciousness and move toward the state of soul consciousness. If we recognize that mental consciousness is dictated by mental programming, all of this will become very simple. It's very difficult to break these habits. Habits are indeed hard to break. Humanity, man, he and she, is a product of his and or her environment. The environment has been infested with ideologies of conflict, confusion, and chaos. The world has actually been placed in the hands of that opposing nature spoken in our ancient Kemetic culture of the Sut, Tek, Set, satanic nature of energy, Set, Sutik, Satan, meaning self-deified individualism. Don't get it mixed up. Do as thou will. And therefore, it has no connection with collective, conscious, communal living. That is a conflict of interest, to do as thou will. Let thy will be done is more important than collective, conscious, communal living within the mindset of a deified self. However, within the collective communal consciousness of humanity, the collective communal consciousness of man, he and she, when he and she emerge into the holistic living presence of divine social, economic, family, community order, is the most magnificent thing that can happen. It's very difficult, though. Please take it from the eye and I. The eye and I have been upon this for over half a century. And let me tell you something. It is very difficult to break the core of that mind consciousness. And it doesn't diminish in short order. Offsprings born from mothers who were perpetuated by fathers and social infrastructures of master programs pick it up indirectly as well as directly through one's DNA. Then the challenge becomes, even if you can keep the person out of that collective negative energy vibration, or should I say that social, even if you can keep the person out of that social, economic, political, religious infestation of opposition energy, some of it seep in. And as it seep in, there's a tendency to go with what appears to be more popular. So you have those few of the few individuals who are trying to come, or who are focused on coming into a new breed of consciousness, anxious to join into family community order. Whereas those who are born, bred, and fed within it feel a vibration that maybe they missed something. And they need to go out and find it because it is more massive. It is the dominant. And throughout every program, one is made to believe that that precious jewel of communal order, family communal order, is prohibiting you from your individualistic growth and development. That's part of the master program, been going on for a very long time within that self-deified nature of the warlord culture. It helps to perpetuate the warlord syndrome. Nothing else would actually manifest. It is the base, root, and foundation of Western culture. It is the base, root, and foundation of what emerged out of the ice cold defreeze mentality. It is that did occur from the steppe regions and the Black Sea basins and the floods and etc. and the carcasses, and it has spread like a plague, and conquest has been the dominant order. Any and every place you move, you see that manifestation. And that manifestation has spread for a reason. Right now up on the planet, it becomes very clear who perpetuates and who it was perpetuated upon. But none of that's the solution right now. The solution is that we must find the best of the best of the best that has been left in place to be able to come together at this particular point in time to re-emerge man, he, and she, who have the capacity and the ability to move into a collective communal consciousness of oneness and put the fiber of divine socioeconomic family community order back together again. Put the base, root, and foundation of holistic living, higher peace conscious thought and reasoning in action back together again. And this time, leave the messages, encode the principles, morals, and values of higher peace consciousness so deep in the core of man, he, and she that we don't follow this trail of the toxic parallel ever again. And this is only for the sacred few of the few of the few of the few, because do not think that this will be tasty to a warlord, blood-spilling, hunting, herding, cultural mindset. No, and it's not for us to argue or to debate. We don't have to struggle to force, coerce, or otherwise convince anyone, period. Mother Earth is doing that. Father Ra is doing that. And don't get I wrong. I'm only giving honor to our sacred ancestral Kemetic teachings that have left a bulk of information about the various Banu cycles for us to look, listen, learn, and discern from. And as a student of Banu cycle consciousness, yeah, and I tell you very clearly, there's a lot to learn. And we need to spend our time looking, listening, learning, and discerning our existence as humanity, as soul-to-soul beings. So we will cease and desist to get caught up in these traps, these mental traps of a warlord syndrome. It's no accident that this quote that the priestess is about to read about a Kemetic priest speaking to a population occurred, and we need to awake. Many things have happened, many circumstances, many events that have been prophetically told time and time again. The problem is, most of the time, children continue to be disconnected from eldership.
Greek philosopher Plato recounted this telling about one of the 7 great wise men of Greece named Solon, who went to Kemet to learn from the sacred ancestral Kemetic Naga priesthood. "Oh, Solon, Solon, you Greeks are never anything but children, and there's not an old man among you." Solon in return asked him what he meant. "I mean to say," he replied, "that in mind you are all young. There is no old opinion handed down among you by ancient tradition. There have been and will be again many destructions of mankind, arising out of many causes. The greatest have been brought about by the agencies of fire and water, and other lesser ones by innumerable other causes. They have all been written down by us of old, and are preserved in our temples. Whereas just when you and other nations are beginning to be provided with letters and the other requisites of civilized life, After the usual interval, the stream from heaven like a pestilence comes pouring down and leaves only those of you who are destitute of letters and education. And so you have to begin all over again like children. End of quote. Page 271, Banu Book 1. By High Priest Kwatamani.
Now, if we can comprehend what was just read, then we will know full well that we don't have any time to try to convince, coerce, or persuade. We need to see how we can teach principles, morals, and values of divine social, economic, family, community order as our first priority, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth priority, and every priority thereafter. We must focus on organic gardening. We're not here to just talk about a whole bunch of riffraff and we should do this and that and go ahead. No, we need to learn how to resynchronize with Mother Earth. If you want to see the change, be the change. Mama Earth is calling for earth-shifting change. We must be the earth-shifting change. It's no mystery. Nobody is coming from outer space somewhere to be the earth-shifting change. It is up to us to take the steps necessary right here and right now to be the change. And those who have it in their mental consciousness that they are above and beyond, or, well, hey, they don't care. The ones who, as one old elder female said to I the other day, the ones who decide that these are the ends of times. So since this is the end of times, they want to do their last time ending things, take trips and go do this and that, those things they always wanted to do, see the Eiffel Tower if it's still there or whatever. More power to them. This is for those who are about the holistic living reality, that life is for the living in divine order. And therefore, we have to get busy. I was looking at the ants the other day. They were on a massive movement. It was so much rain in the rainforest. And it's like, well, that's the rainforest. There should be rain in the rainforest. The ants are very familiar with that because they've been living in the rainforest for a very long time. And they were building mounds. And within that, they were storing leaves. And they were picking things up. And I'm looking, I'm saying, wow, how are these little creatures having such a high level and intensity of survival skills when this big, massive being calling his and her self humanity can't even figure out the basics? You have to be able to be the change. Be with the change, and you will see with the change. And this is what we have to do. And it's not for everybody. It is not for everybody. Some will decide they'd rather jump ship. Hey, jump ship available. The reality is we must be with those who decide that they want to bond with collective conscious thought and reasoning and action. We can't wait until the last minute, whatever the last minute is, because we're in the last minutes of making a decision to see the change by being the change. We can't wait till there's a time of critical actions, crisis moments, when people are desperate and say anything and ready to do anything for the moment just to survive one more day, to be able to get whatever pleasure they have in their mental consciousness, or they look and they see a situation where, wow, they look like they got this or that, and etc. And they want to hurry up and become a part of that real quick for the moment. No, we have to go through processes, holistic living processes of mental, physical, and spiritual resurrection. If man, he and she, whoever he or she be, do not have the absolute focus on the health, safety, and well-being of the women and the children, that particular individual is suicidal and or homicidal by nature. We must comprehend that the fiber of our existence is with the mother, the she, the feminine. She has been twisted so far out of shape right now that there are very few of the few of the few and very limited opportunity of being able to healthily, wholesomely safeguard a sacred few of the few of the few, to actually join and bond together within a holistic living family community order, to actually breed, seed, and feed a new consciousness of masculine and feminine energy, he and she. It's been by design. It's been structurally organized by the mindset of those who oppose divine order, those who oppose social communal order, those who uphold self-deified individualism. The idea is be whatever he or she want he or she to be in he or she's mind, because about mind consciousness and mind consciousness dictated by self. And that conflicts with collective communal order. It conflicts with Mother Earth and all living things thereof. It conflicts with existence. It conflicts with life. It is a culture of death, a frozen culture, a culture of self-deified, ice-cold defreeze mentality. And if we do not resurrect a green earth solar conscious presence, there's no possibility of amassing collective communal conscious order to safeguard the women and the children. And as the male must comprehend that if he is so out of sync and out of focus with obtaining the collective communal consciousness necessary to safeguard the women and the children, then he's not about his existence anyway. So he should roll, have fun, be a whatever you want to be. But if that male has it within his mindset that maybe I have more value than ejaculating sperm for the pleasure of it, and that each and every sperm count is significant within collective communal conscious energy, and therefore should not be wasted on the power and the glory of ego-driven satisfaction, that male is a male that has come into the vibration of being able to accelerate the principles, morals, and values of divine social, economic, family, community order, and we need them desperately. We have a desperate need at this particular point in time for the masculine he, who is about collective, communal, conscious energy, the higher peace, conscious resurrection of divine social, economic, family, community order. Just as we have a holistic living, an urgent need for the feminine she, who recognize that it's not about her twisting her behind, because it has no significance when it comes down to life and death. It has no significance when it comes down to the true values of existence. That the true reality, the truth, the holistic living truth, is that we must manifest a new breed of consciousness. And every ounce of our body movement, every cell, every element of our molecular structure, every ounce of our mental consciousness needs to be focused on, transmitted into, resurrecting divine social, economic, family, community order, collective conscious movement of whole life energy within man, he and she, into a divine union of oneness to go forward and multiply divine order through whole life consumption of the tree of life culture, and multiply that collective consciousness into every offspring and vibration of the generation next for the survival of humanity.
Yeah, how old are you today? 9 years of earth cycling, huh?